Series, Bergara barrels for guaranteed accuracy, nitride for guaranteed rust proofing, and a rifle guaranteed to be the best muzzleloader you've ever shot. CVA, it's just a better gun.
This segment's being brought to you by 3rd Regiment Game Calls. Friends, family, and faith in the outdoors. One call at a time. All right, everybody, it's time for this week's Pictures of the Week. They've been brought to you by Flowers Garden Center and Deer Processing. They'll have everything fired up and ready to go for the regular opening of archery season, September 26th. So be sure to get down there and see them, get your deer processed, and tell them thank you for everything they do for us right here at Southern Woods and Waters. All right, our first picture here is my buddy Bobby Gentry, and this is a nice 21-inch smallmouth that he caught on Dale Hollow over the last couple of days, and he caught that fish on a chartreuse colored jig with a crawl behind it, so he wants to let everybody know that. He was using those Yankum custom tackle jigs, and that chartreuse was on fire for us a few weeks ago, so congratulations on that one, Bobby. All right, now this right here, now you've seen this picture, Wes.
That's a big one.
This thing right here is no joke. This is a tank. This is Rick Taylor with an East Tennessee boar that they have estimated to be over 400 pounds. And you know, he got one. We had a picture of one Rick had that was right around 300 a few weeks ago, and you could set it inside of that one right there. Yeah, so I'm telling you, that is a lot of bacon right there. Congratulations on that one, Rick. All right, our next picture here, this is Jason Vandergriff, and this is a nice bass that Jason caught on Tim's Ford Lake. So congratulations to him on that one. I know that's one of Jake Davis's favorite places to run around and chase bass, and it looks like Jason done pretty good up there himself. And here on the end, this is Casey James Briley and Zach Knight, and this was a recent tournament they fished at night. It was a 3-fish tournament on Old Hickory Lake. And looks like they had a pretty good night, Wes. For a 3-fish tournament, I would say they probably ended up at the top of the boards on that night. So congratulations on that one, guys. Y'all can send your pictures to us here at Southern Woods and Waters, 474 James Robertson Parkway, or get them to me on Facebook, or email them to me right there at that email address on the screen, and we'll get them here on the show just as soon as we can. All right, welcome back to the studio. Again, tonight we're talking about aging deer, Wes, and trying to determine, because it doesn't matter whether you're just out there to get the first deer that comes out in the field, or if you're wanting to wait till you see a 4.5, 5-year-old buck. It's good to be able to age them, you know, and I'll just say right off the top that I think experience and time in the field is going to be the #1 thing you're going to need. Oh, you know, people say, well, how do you age a deer so fast? Well, I've watched them for so long, and when you get into wanting to shoot a more mature deer, if that's what you're into doing, you're going to watch a lot more deer. Right. And that's when you really start to learn the difference in the way they act, the way they look, you know, and things like that. But just kind of starting off, what is one of the first things that you're looking for to maybe know that a mature deer is in the area or using the area? I mean, you know, is there anything in particular that makes you think, you know, this is probably a mature deer doing this?
Right. Well, I always capitalize from the year before. I mean, you know, experience in the woods, what you're seeing, just looking at previous travel, just tree stand time. Yeah. You know, usually I make my adjustments from one year to the other, so actually just observation a lot. Yeah. You know, personal observation. Yeah.
A lot of times that next season, he's still going to be in the same. If you haven't done anything, Randall says this all the time, if you hadn't done anything to change what he's doing, he's going to keep doing it. Yeah. If he changes it, it's because you changed it in most cases. Right. So, you know, you're observing and watching, and if I know, like in my case, there's a deer that was on this video that I'm going to be after this year, but there was 2 other deer that were shown in that video clip that I shot in years after those videos were filmed. And so it kind of goes back to what you're saying. Once I've got a good 3-year-old buck and I've kind of got my eye on him, right, then I'm already, every time I see him, I'm going, next year, buddy, you know, next year. And I'll start to look at him at that point. But with your 3-year-old deer, I think we need to spend a little more time, I guess, than anything, kind of between 3 and 4 years old, because usually with the 1.5 olds, as you heard on the video, 1.5 old bucks it's going to be look like a doe that's got antlers. It's pretty easy to say, okay, that's a yearling buck. 2-year-old, you still don't really have much muscle mass built. They're going to swell a little bit during the rut, but it's still fairly easy to tell. It's when that deer gets to 3.
Yeah, that's the
when
hard
he can
part.
fool you.
And how you labeled the video a while ago, it's not an exact.
It's not an exact science.
I mean, we're making the best educated guess we can.
That's right.
By experience, and by knowing the deer in your area.
Yeah, we are. And that's why I usually refer to a deer as 4.5 plus / mature. Because once he's at 4.5, I just consider him mature. And some people say 5.5. Some people, and that's fine. Everybody does things a little different, but from 4.5 on is what I'm usually looking for.
It's like we was talking about. They're like people. There's some guys. You went to school with a guy in 9th grade that already had a full beard and he was full grown in 9th grade. But their body, their bone structure grows until they're 4.5, and then after that it's more or less just muscle. And they're just putting
genetics,
on weight after that.
Everything plays a factor in the game as far as what they're going to attain. But some of the characteristics that I kind of look for between the 3 and the 4-year-old deer, of course, you got your body characteristics. A lot of time, even starting at 4 years old, his neck almost disappears. His neck almost becomes part of his chest.
Right, it comes out of his brisket at that point.
Hind end looks big, rounded. You mentioned something that's absolutely true that a lot of people don't talk about. Once that deer's 4 years, 5 years old or so, his head gets real flat.
Yeah.
He don't have a rounded head like a younger deer, like a doe does. His head's real flat, and his nose, best I can describe it, almost looks like he just ran into a wall, crunched his nose up. But that's some of the characteristics to look for, as well as just those body characteristics. Because with a 3-year-old, he might have a big 130-inch rack like that 8-pointer did that so many people called me crazy for passing up a few years ago. A deer had a big rack, but you could tell easily by looking at his body that he looked like a racehorse. He was very streamlined. There was no gut.
He was tall and lean.
He did, and so that's the kind of deer that I get excited about when he's 3, because I'm like, all right, when he grows into that, he'll really be something. And he was, when I ended up taking him last year and everybody got to see it on the show, he was a fantastic deer. I mean, to this day, one of the best ones I've taken. But they're not all going to do that. They're not all going to do that. Sometimes they might keep the same size rack at 4 as they had at 3. They might get smaller. They might get bigger. You never know with that. But
you always got your anomalies. You're gonna have that big mature buck that when you see him moving through the woods, that there's no doubt he's an older deer.
Yeah.
I mean, but sometimes you got some 5.5s that you would maybe age on the hoof as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, that's right.
They're gonna fool you.
And sometimes you're just gonna be wrong, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
if
a fact with this, guys.
If you got a camera history. That deer,
camera history helps
that's
a ton.
the best way of knowing.
It does. Well, guys, we're going to go over and do this week's product of the week. Then we'll be back to talk some more in the next segment. This week's product of the week's been brought to you by our friends at Caney Fork Outdoors. You guys can find them at cfoutdoors.com or get off at the Center Hill Dam exit off of I-40 and go to the bottom of the hill, and you'll find them at the Big Rock Market right there. They can take care of all your kayak needs, get you on the river and outfitted and ready to go. All right, now Wes, you brought something in with you tonight for the product of the week.
I did.
It's a really neat deal. What do you got there?
It is, and I'll tell you a little bit of quick history about this. How come I feel good about this product? About 2 years ago, I discovered a grapevine in the month of May, free hanging, about this far from the ground. I felt like the deer was using it as a licking branch, and put a camera on it, and sure enough, it was amazing how the deer was attracted to this vertical, just grapevine hanging down. So I started using some different things, to mimic that grapevine, like a hemp rope. And then this year, in the last year, this product called Scrape Fix has come out, and it's to create a mock scrape. But the thing I like about it, and I'm testing it right now. Got a camera on one, and it's 5 foot long, and it's got wire inside of it, and you actually just
wrap it around a limb or something.
Tie it around a limb, and that visual for a deer. You know, you put it in somewhere where you normally would have a licking branch or a scrape. But this visual, I mean, they love it. They love that straight, vertical, hanging
It
down
must be
bind.
something about the movement of it too, you know, or something that makes it different.
And basically, you know, it trains the deer to start using it as a licking branch. And as the year progresses, I mean, you can do this year round. As the year progresses, more and more deer, you know, start using it. They're leaving their scent on it. They're rubbing their preorbital glands on it.
Yeah.
And so it works itself.
Yeah.
And it will inventory some deer, and it's a good method of creating, you know, a shot opportunity, especially bow.
They're going to slow down and at least look at it. They're going to smell it, touch it, do something.
But if I hadn't had the previous experience with just the hanging grapevine, you'd have
thought, what in the world is this?
I thought this was another gimmick, because I'm not a gimmick guy. You know
that's right.
That.
No.
I just believe in hunting hard and hunting smart, but this product's going to work. I mean, it's too similar to what I've done before.
Well, how can people get a hold of one of those if they want to try it out this year?
You can go online. You can go to scrapefix.com. They sell. That's their website. There's a velvet scent, and now I'm experimenting on this part now. But this is the scent you're supposed to put in when they're in velvet, and then they have another type of scent, a little bit different smell for after
you can
they
kind of
come out.
experiment and see what they like.
Yeah.
Well, man, that's a good product. I look forward to seeing how that works out for you this year.
I'll share that with you.
How it's
later
going to
on.
go. Well, guys, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to open the phone lines for you, and we'll have some more Southern Woods and Waters.